Joining us live with more analysis is the Chair of Global Islamic Politics at Deakin University, Greg Barton. Greg, good to see you. Thanks for your time. There's been a lot of tough talk in recent days. We've been bracing for an attack from Iran that we've been told has been imminent for some days now. What sort of scale of retaliation are you expecting? What would Iran be weighing up as it strategises its next move?
Well, Ash, one way of looking at this is in April they launched 300 rockets and drones towards Israel. Of course, they gave warning. Those rockets and drones were shot down with very little impact. That's the sort of scale then that they thought was symbolic. They were probably disappointed they didn't get the impact they were hoping, even though they didn't want it to escalate and lead to a regional war. So perhaps we'll see something of that scale this time, perhaps with less warning. So that there's more impact, or perhaps it'll be split by a diversionary tactic using Hezbollah from the north and Hezbollah rockets, as well as projectiles fired from Iran. But that's what people are bracing themselves for.
Greg, reports coming through that Yahya Sinwar, the accused mastermind of the October 7 attack on Israel, has been named as the new Hamas political chief. What else do we know about him, and what direction are we likely to see Hamas take, do you think, under his leadership?
Yeah, this is a significant shift in leadership, Ash. We were just talking about the assassination, we think by Israel, of Ismail Haniyeh, who, clearly involved in this terrorist organization. Hamas had blood on his hands himself, but was somebody who could negotiate with factions and negotiate with things like ending conflict and hostage exchanges. Yahya Sinwar, we know quite a lot about. He spent a couple of decades of his life in Israeli prisons where he learned fluent Hebrew, and not just that, came to understand Israeli ways of thinking politically and socially. He is, literally a terrorist mastermind. He, we believe, planned the October 7th attack from within the Gaza Strip, probably not communicating to the likes of Ismail Haniyeh from the political wing outside Gaza. And he was laying a trap for Israel. He was setting a trap that he calculated Israel would respond to and walk into. And arguably they've done just that. He's still safe in his underground bunker in Gaza, as far as we know. Certainly not dead. Now not just leading from Gaza, but leading the whole of Hamas. This is bad news because we don't expect that he has much appetite for hostage negotiations. He's very much committed to this idea of martyrdom. He's happy to drag the people of Gaza down into the grave if it somehow advances the political cause as he understands it. That's pretty grim and pretty dark, but that's his read. He's a formidable force, and things have just got much tougher. I feel sorry for the hostage families and everyone else who caught up in this, people of Gaza included, because it seems less likely we're going to have a cessation of this conflict now.
Greg, meantime, a Pakistani man with ties to Iran has now been charged with plotting assassinations of the former President Donald Trump and also other political leaders in the US. Do we know much about that plot, and would you expect there are others like that in the pipeline ahead of the US election? Obviously, security very tight after the last assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Yeah, that last assassination attempt got far too close to succeeding. There was a real lapse in intelligence there, in coordination between the special service and local law enforcement, it would appear. So this plot that's been thankfully interrupted. This guy was dealing with people who were undercover FBI officers, but he was serious, it would appear, and they allege at least, in terms of trying to procure somebody who would take a shot against a candidate or president. We don't know much more than those details. It's not surprising that there'd be something like this attempted. It would be expected there'd be other plots. Iran is in a very weak position. It can't afford a regional war. It can't, it has limited resources, but it has enough resources to use this fairly cheap ways of trying to get some impact. So that's the danger. This sort of asymmetrical conflict. Russia's in a similar position as well. And I think we've been too blasé about the fact that fairly small amounts of money, whether it's disinformation or hiring people to act in physical attacks, fairly small amounts of money can have outside results if they get lucky. And that's a scary thought.
Certainly is. Let's hope it doesn't get to that. Professor Greg Barton, always appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining us.